The state is planning to seek the death penalty against...
The governor today signs a law that would change the death penalty.
Brand new report dives into the history of the death penalty in Florida is executing an inmate.
5 death penalty cases are underway.
He was sentenced to death.
Abolish the death penalty.
How do we as a society grapple with the men and women who commit unimaginable horror? The United States is one of 53 nations that has capital punishment. There has been a debate for years, as you know, about if it's even effective. But in Boston, the issue has become deeply personal as it works its way through the Supreme Court. Trevor Ault brings us this in-depth look.
The death penalty was first introduced in the 18th century, with the original methods of execution being by crucifixion, drowning, being beaten to death, impalement, and of course, hanging. Many of the crimes that were subject to this penalty were petty crimes. Over time, the methods of execution changed and the start of a heated debate began. Fast forward a couple of years and many started to argue that this penalty was unjust. When the penalty was first introduced, its original purpose was to scare off crime doers in hopes that it would help reduce the amount of crime going around. Nowadays, only the most extreme cases are punishable by death. These include murder, genocide, treason, and the kidnapping or killing of a president, congressman, or Supreme Court justice. Many argue that this penalty is cruel because of its irreversibility. Not only does it affect those who are facing the punishment, but it also gives the family members of the ones being executed trauma. Both parties' families are present during the execution.
Execution is not the solution. That is Death Penalty Action's main message, an organization dedicated to abolishing the death penalty.
Why kill people who kill people? To show Americans that killing people is wrong.
Suzanne Bossler is one of a dozen or so people who came together outside the Hillsborough County Courthouse Monday to protest against the death penalty as part of a statewide tour by Death Penalty Action.
But what about those whose executions were botched? There's no possible way that every execution will go as planned. In the year of 2022 alone, about every 1 in 3 executions went wrong.
Penalty information Center says that a shocking 1 in 3 executions carried out in the U.S. in 2022 turned out botched up and a bloody mess. And big problems with the 40-year-old lethal injection method has come out.
So if the death penalty has so many problems, why have it? There have been a number of cases filed against the death penalty saying that the penalty violated the 8th Amendment. The amendment states that there should be no cruel and unusual punishment for those who are sentenced. In the Gray v. Georgia case, the Supreme Court ruled that the penalty did not violate the 8th Amendment. Though the ruling was that the system in place was unconstitutional and it caused many states to change their death penalty systems in order to keep it legal. Even then, many still argue that the penalty is not worth having. There's no telling whether this form of punishment will change. The only alternative to this is life without the possibility of parole. This ensures that the criminal will never be released. Morality is the biggest factor in this debate, and this alternative sentencing is the solution for that. Although the penalty doesn't violate any human rights, many can agree that this penalty is cruel and for those facing it. There is no right or wrong answer to this question. In the end, people will have their own reasons for what they believe in.